What's up, guys? Chris here to do what I hope are some brief predictions for UFC 148. Just brief because I don't know. I'm a little pain right now. You can't tell. You can't tell, but I am. Anyways, physical, not emotional. Anyways, as far as UFC 148 big card, well, UFC usually does two big cards of the year: the July 4th weekend-ish kind of card, and the end of the year event. And when this event was originally scheduled, it was stacked. Outside of the fights that are still there, you also had Kung Lee versus Rich Franklin, and I believe Bisping versus Boach, as well as Dominic Cruz, Uriah Favorite 3. Of course, we know Cruz got hurt, and then there was Favorite Barral and had to get moved to UFC 149. I believe Bisping got hurt. Rich Franklin took Vitor Belfort's spot at UFC 147, so where we're at, there's been a lot of injuries, Cards are taking a lot of hits. The UFC 149 is a lot worse. That's what UFC 147, so this is going to be like the high point for a while in the UFC as far as events go. Alright, as far as the card itself, 3 fights. That's it. So I'm going to talk about Kung Lee versus Patrick Cote. I thought Rich Franklin was a bad matchup for Kung Lee just because Rich is a lot bigger. I don't know if he's a better striker. I guess in a way he is. Got more power. I thought he was a bad matchup for Kung Lee. And I think Patrick Cote is an equally bad matchup. Now, granted, Cote is not as diverse of a striker as Rich Franklin or Kung Lee, but I think he's got a better chin than Rich Franklin, and I think that he hits harder than Rich Franklin. So Kung Lee coming off that knockout loss, devastating knockout loss to Vanderlei Silva, I think he does work here early, but eventually gets tired like he tends to do and gets knocked out late. So I'm going with Patrick Cote by second or possibly most likely third round knockout. Next up, co-main event of the night, got the rubber match between Forrest Griffin and Tito Ortiz, a fight that not a lot of people are high on, but it's the last fight of Tito's career, so I guess he kind of got to pick and choose somewhat. And Forrest, he was down for the fight as well. Although he did say if he lost, he would retire from life. Unfortunately for Tito, I don't see that happening. First 2 fights were competitive, close fights, which is why I'm not really have a problem with this fight. I think it should be entertaining for what it is. It's not really something that's going to change the rankings or have anything to do with the lightweight division, but it still should be an entertaining fight. Got to favor Forrest though. Tito, just long career, a lot of injuries. They're taking their toll. I don't think he's retiring because he doesn't enjoy fighting anymore. I think he's retiring because his body is just had too much. It's just too much wear and tear. I think it's going to show in this fight. So go with Forrest Griffin by unanimous or split decision. Since the first 2 fights, I think both went by split decision. And of course, you got the main event of the night, the rematch, highly anticipated between Anderson Silva and Chael Sonnen. Just watched the first fight on Friday night on UFC.com for free. Glad they hooked that up. That's great for them to do. It was only the second time I'd watched the fight outside of originally watching it. Thing is, I really don't know how much has changed in that first fight. Now, granted, Anderson Silva was reportedly not 100%, had a rib injury, so you got to factor that in. And even though he got a exemption from the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chael Sonnen will not be able to pump as much testosterone himself as he did in the first fight. That aside, styles, I don't see anything changing in this fight, except for I believe Chael's been training more submission defense, which obviously he should, but we'll see how that goes. Anderson Silva, on one of his worst nights, whether it was due to being injured or because Chael Sonnen was just a better fighter that night, still got it done. He still found a way to win, where a lot of guys wouldn't have in that position after being dominated for so long. He still was able to pull it out. So, unless Chael was able to dominate him in similar fashion and avoid the late submission, it's just hard for me to envision him doing that. That was like might have been his once-in-a-lifetime moment, so to speak, to make it happen, and the opportunity may have passed at this point. I just don't know if he can make the magic happen again. Anderson Silva, there's a reason why he has not lost in the UFC. Probably the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, and possibly one of, if not the best mixed martial artist of all time. Can't say the same for Chael. Chael does present a difficult style matchup for Anderson Silva, as we saw in the first fight. If he gets him down, here's my 2 recommendations for Chael Sonnen if he gets this fight to the ground again. 1, if you can, try to keep it in half guard. This way, the threat of submission is severely decreased. 2, use more elbows to the body. I I don't think his striking was effective somewhat in the first round, or the first fight, but you saw he didn't do a lot of damage. Anderson Silva from the bottom actually did much more damage to Chael's face than vice versa. So Chael looked to, throw some elbows to the body, some shots to the body while you're on top. Really try to wear Anderson Silva down late, if the fight goes late. That said, I'm not sure how late it's going to go. Anderson Silva, highly motivated. Let's assume he's going to come into this fight in better condition or better shape than he did the first fight. Let's just assume that. If that's the case, I got Anderson Silva getting it done. Stoppage, probably within 3 rounds, but you never know. He said on the press conference call, obviously, that he wanted to punish Chael, break his arms, legs, knock his teeth out. Obviously, he's not going to do any of those things. But he may still look to punish him. And if that's the case, he may take his time with him, like a cat toying with the mouse or something like that. But either way, I got Anderson Silva winning this fight by stoppage. Anyways, I talked about this fight, this event, a lot more in depth on the UFC Science and Violence radio show once it finally got started, with Danny Acosta from Fight Magazine and a lot of other places where he works at, MMA journalist. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out live, you can always check it out on podcast or on demand. Link in the information part of the video as always, as well as link to Science and Violence stuff and Twitter. Alright, one of you guys thoughts on this event? Are you still hyped for it? Is this the most highly anticipated rematch in the history of MMA? Who do you see winning and how? And, thoughts on any other fights? Kung Lee, Patrick Cote, Forrest Griffin, Tito Ortiz. Any thoughts on Tito Ortiz both entering the UFC Hall of Fame and ending his career, retiring? So any thoughts in general? I will probably do a post-fight show. I don't know if we have time to do a post-fight video, but a post-fight Science and Violence show the night of after the event. So look for that. Probably about half hour, 45 minutes after the fight ends, or the broadcast ends. We'll see. But look for that next Saturday night if you want to call in and talk about the fights or the event itself. Information for all that stuff, same as the radio show. Look for it on the information part of the video as always. That's it for now. Until next time, do a video Saturday night, Sunday.